Hello and welcome back. Today I'm joined by Alex, a returning GoEco volunteer who has proved that meaningful travel isn't just for students or people in their 20s. If you're in your 40s or 50s or beyond and considering a change, this conversation is for you. Alex is a two-time and soon to be three-time GoEco volunteer who in his 40s decided to step away from a comfortable career, sell his apartment, and trade predictability for purpose, let's say. He started his journey with GoEco a couple of years ago, and it took him from hand feeding baby rhinos in South Africa to working behind the scenes in a very chaotic but beautiful wildlife sanctuary in Thailand. And now he's preparing for his next adventure in Zimbabwe. We talk about the realities of volunteering abroad in your 40s, the physical work, the accommodations, but most importantly, Alex talks about the things he's done that no tourist can do. If you've ever thought you were too old or too busy, or too far in your career to take a break or change direction, Alex's story may challenge that completely. I hope you enjoy. There's a lot to take out of this conversation. Let's jump right in. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time. As I said in my email, I'm a bit more on I would say, the fun side of GoEco.
All
and,
right.
but I have also been in operations and logistics, and I have also been to Zimbabwe. So there's so many
Oh,
things
nice.
today. But I'd love to start with just getting to know you a bit better as somebody who's been with us now. This is going to be your third time.
Yep. Yep.
So very cool. Well, I have a bunch of questions for you. I primarily want to know what is it about Go Eco that you keep coming back and doing these types of volunteer programs with us?
All right. The first two experiences I've had with GoEco. So the first one was in South Africa with the rhinos, and that was my first volunteer experience. It was just very easy. You get the information, you get the project folder. I just thought it was easy breezy. You don't, I mean, of course you have to think, but you almost don't. Because all the information is given to you, it's all laid out. Once you read through all that, you barely have any questions about the whole process of it, going to the project or what to expect. And yeah, so I thought it was, you know, I'm sure I don't want to step on GoEgo, but I'm sure if I reached out to some of the organizations, you probably could arrange something directly. But it's really nice to have that support just in case, and you don't really have to do all the heavy lifting, if you know what I mean. So it's a really nice service that you get. And plus you get to see before you book, the experience. You go to your website, you can kind of see the different projects that you have in your portfolio and yeah, just kind of pick and choose and say, all right, that sounds really good. Let's go.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we put a lot of effort. That's basically what we love to do is just make it easy for you guys and accessible.
Mm,
And, a lot of our partners, sometimes they do have volunteers come in from other locations too, but not all of them have all the pre-trip planning organization
yeah.
like that. So
Mm,
that's what we love to support. And also some of them are small local organizations
yeah.
that don't have the global reach too. So
Mm,
there's a few
yeah.
things that play there, but I'm happy to hear that. That's awesome. Well, tell me about your first one there in South Africa at the Rhino Sanctuary. I actually featured your review talking about it in a webinar recently. So tell me
Yeah.
in a nutshell, it's just an amazing program. So, like, what should people know about it? What was it like?
Oh, golly. Amazing, first of all. If I won like $1 million tomorrow, I would book it every month. No, it was, first of all, it's an experience out of the ordinary, like all the projects are really, but to get up close and personal to a massive animal like a rhino. And we even hand fed the babies, which I don't think you could even pay for going to the zoo or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just an experience that I'll never forget because of the extreme situation you are in. I mean, you are hand feeding a rhino.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my number one. memory, I guess I can say, because it has been more than, well, a year and a half now.
Hmm.
And then again, since it was my first project, it was easy having the help from you guys. And then the staff at the center or the sanctuary, can't remember what they called.
Both
um,
is fun.
yeah. And they were so nice. Even though I'm older than the staff, you can't really tell because they just welcome you with open arms. And if you want to work, you absolutely have the option to do so. It was physical work, of course, but yeah, it was just so nice. Yeah, I would love, love, love to go back.
Yeah. We love to talk about the Rhino program when we're educating people about volunteer programs abroad in general, because it's such a great example of, the whole volunteering travel idea is that you go to places that a normal tourist doesn't go, and you get to see and be a part of something that a normal tourist just can't or won't ever be. So it's a great
Yeah,
example of that. Like, would you agree?
it really is. And also, especially the Rhino project, you really see the difference that they're making for the rhinos, which I thought was very special because they had those little stages to be almost fully released into that massive sanctuary where they don't really encounter people. You actually felt like you were helping out, making a difference, even though it is just for a few weeks.
Mm,
That was something that really, yeah, I thought that was awesome as well.
that's cool.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. That's one of our I haven't been there yet, but it's one of my favorite top of the list
Uh,
to visit.
absolutely.
I've been
Yes.
around but missed it, so that was my mistake.
I highly recommend it.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so another question we get also for, we have volunteers of all ages, right? But most of them are quite younger. So it's a very common question we get from perhaps your peer group or anybody who's not like in their 20s, let's say, is what would it be
Mhm.
like as an older volunteer in terms of, that type of experience? So what would you say? Now been on two programs. What would your general advice?
Yeah. I think a good indication is the price. Even though the Thailand and South Africa are completely different parts of the world, the rhino sanctuary was more expensive,
Yeah.
and maybe the 18-year-olds can't really afford that. I don't know if they can't, or maybe they just prioritize differently. But yeah, I would say that the volunteers in South Africa or at the rhino sanctuary, they were, I'm going to say older, even though it sounds wrong, because they were just not 18 compared to the one in Thailand where a lot of them were, you know, 18 to 20 at the most. Yeah. I mean, I think I was the oldest. There was another guy when I was there. Maybe he was in his 30s. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, again, it didn't really matter. There was only about five of us, five volunteers in South Africa. So I don't think it would have mattered if they were 18 or 70. It's because you get together sharing such a unique experience that you bond regardless. I'm still in touch with two of them from South Africa.
Right.
So very special.
That's actually a great point. We often do recommend the more expensive programs have a lot more built into it, or the accommodations are nicer too. So we typically do recommend those for older volunteers, or at least not the 20. So I'm glad you kind of agree. That makes a big difference in the end.
It really does. And I mean, the one in Thailand, not to speak ill of it at all, because I thought that was amazing too, but in a very different way. I think we were about 60 volunteers in Thailand.
Mm,
I would say the average age was 18 or 20.
mm,
So I didn't feel, excluded or anything, but it was just a very different experience. And
mhm.
a lot of them, they had a beer at night and, it was way more social in that manner. So yeah. So I think if someone who was 18 came up to me today and asked which one should he or she pick, I would say go to Thailand first,
Mhm.
kind of get a feel of it, which I kind of get. If you're young and maybe you haven't traveled all that much, it's really nice to be in a big group with other people. And
Mm.
so the South African one was a little bit more independent, but yes, still very good, just in two different ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Every program is unique, and everybody's perspective while they're there is also unique, which is why we love to
Yeah.
touch base and talk about it. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so let's switch to Thailand then. You said obviously you've mentioned the recommendation for the age group perhaps there, but what about like the volunteer work behind the scenes of that sanctuary? What was that like and how would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I love the sanctuary itself. They had more, I think it was 1,200 animals that they were taking care of. In the morning, the work itself, it was very chaotic, which I actually loved. You know, you wake up and you have like 1,000 bowls that needs to be filled up with everything from bananas and corn and whatnot. We had the music going, and so I love that kind of vibe. I thought it was so much fun. The accommodation in Thailand hit me hard. I was there in April, I think it was. So it was about 40 something degrees during the day, and then it went down to about 35 at night with no aircon. And I was sweating like you wouldn't believe. But I guess I just kind of took it as part of the experience.
Mhm.
I think most of them saw me as a dad right next to them.
Yeah.
And I get it. And it was all fine. There's still some very, very sweet people. I am in touch with a couple of them still.
Mhm.
So I would definitely recommend that way more for the younger crowd,
Cool.
for sure.
Okay. And so now you're looking at Zimbabwe. So maybe tell me, like, what in general inspired you to start volunteering and traveling abroad? Like, it's very different than normal tourist trips. What do you really love about the overall experience that keeps you wanting to do that? Because it's not easy, like you said, it's
I
kind of
know.
difficult in sometimes.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think I call it a happy midlife crisis. This, no, I think about 6 years ago, I used to have a dog that passed away a couple of years ago. And then I was just kind of, all right, what should I do in order to get over that grief that happens when you lose a pet or someone dear and near? And then I had a job in marketing, which was a nice job. I just wasn't loving it. You know, I only went to work to get that paycheck. I wasn't feeling it.
Mhm.
I just decided, all right, so if I've seen people online, you know, traveling full time, and I thought, oh man, if I won $1 million, I would do that. But then I decided, all right, so what if I just really started saving up? And I went in hardcore. So I saved up a lot of money. And then after my dog passed, quit my job and sold my apartment. And then, yeah, I've been traveling for more than a year and a half now.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize you were traveling
Okay.
for so long. I must have missed
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and obviously I love animals and I kind of wanted to, I don't know, paid forward in some sense. Not that I'm going to leave a legacy when I die, but at least I would have done just a tiny little part to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just want to keep doing it till the day I die, really.
Yeah, we really try to get the perspective of our volunteers to also help explain the concept. A lot of people don't even realize that you can like travel and volunteer and what that means, and also our role in vetting programs and making sure you guys fit the programs well. And we do the interview and such. And we really care about placing you guys in the right spot based on what you're
Mm.
looking for. And if you were to summarize perhaps the key differences between a normal tourist trip and then getting involved in a program locally. We typically emphasize culture and you usually stay longer in one spot and you get to see things and do things that tourists don't want to do. Do you have anything to add to people who are
Well, I mean, what I've told most of my friends that because I live in Europe, a lot of my friends they go to Spain or Italy for summer vacation, which is fine. They're really nice places, so I don't blame them. But if you go to the same beach year after year after year, can you really remember that vacation that happened 3 years ago? What did you do? But if you go volunteer with animals, you're going to have an experience that you will never, ever, ever forget.
Mhm.
And again, it still is a vacation. Yeah, yeah, you are working, but for me at least, when it's only, 2 or 3 weeks, it's not really work per se. It still is fun and games and experience, and you get to try something that money really can't buy elsewhere.
Mhm.
So yeah, so a lot of my friends are buying into the concept. I'm just not sure that they have, the cojones to do it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I like that. It does sometimes take some getting used to the idea of, well, I'm booking this whole travel kind of package but they're going to tell me what to do and they're going to tell me what to eat and where to be and what to, how to work
Yeah.
but so it's a different kind of concept. We find a lot of people actually love the fact that they can just kind of let everybody else make the decisions and kind of just go and
Yeah.
schedule, and they like the routine, and that's awesome
Yeah.
here. Would you agree, or how does that feel for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's easy peasy. And I will say it is still a vacation, like going to South Africa. Coming from Europe, you don't go to South Africa normally for just a week
Yeah.
on a vacation. And then a lot of people, if they hear South Africa, they immediately think, Kruger, safaris, and that's way too expensive for a
Yeah.
lot of people. I'm like, well, why don't you just volunteer instead? And you can be up close with these animals anyway, and you can even touch some of them. None of my close friends have done it yet, but at least I've opened up their eyes. So we'll see.
That's very cool. But yeah, I think if I can give you a little bit of a comparison, Zimbabwe is great because it is, again, a sanctuary. So I see theme in the programs you're choosing, which is good. The up close and personal with the animals is awesome. So you'll definitely get that there. And it is smaller. It's not like Thailand. I'm sure maybe somebody told you that maybe when you first applied. I'm not sure. It's a small family run
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah. It's even on your website.
Okay, good. So I think you'll really like it in that way, just based on our conversation so far. And yeah, we often get more, I would say, mature volunteers just because of the price range, like you said. And the Victoria Falls is amazing. You have to go. So we'll make sure you have the
Absolutely.
information for that too.
Yeah.
It's Christmas and New Year's as well. So that's really fun.
And then
I was actually there twice for Christmas and New Year's. They were my adopted family for a little while. When I had nowhere else to go, I went there for Christmas and New Year's.
no.
So yeah, you'll feel part of the family for sure. That's kind of what they do. And they have like a Christmas meal, and yeah, it's really fun.
No. It speaks volume too that you've been back. That's really nice.
Yeah, honestly, of all the places, I've been with GoEco for several years, and the handful of programs I've visited is probably smaller than it should be because I keep going back to Zimbabwe. I've been maybe 3 or 4 times, so I keep just going back.
Nice.
So yeah, so I love that place. And so I guess I just want to know, what would be like your best advice then for other people who are considering these types of programs and wildlife specifically? And, we have just so many people from more mature volunteers that really just, they're struggling with the concept, but also just nervous about traveling on their own and doing these things on their own. And,
I think, the whole traveling on your own, for me, at least, it's only the plane ride where you are on your own. At least the few places I've been, all the other volunteers are really nice. You have the same interest. You're there for the same reason. And then the staff are super, super nice. And yeah, I feel like even though you're just there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks and a little bit more, you're not saving the world, but you are making your contribution to helping to the animals, whether or not they can be re-released or not. So yeah, you feel good about yourself also when you're done. And yeah, it's just an experience out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
a good theme.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even I met someone, I was in Laos with another one, and there was a lady there, and she was 68 doing volunteer work. So, there's not really, you're never too old to be traveling and to be volunteering. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Totally.
That's a great one. Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, that's just wonderful. Like I said, I love sharing these stories. We find the biggest question we have is like, well, can I just get advice from somebody who's been there before I commit for a whole 3 weeks of my life here?
Of course. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Happy to share that.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Right. Thank you, Alex. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll
You too. Yeah. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.